Hi, folks. Early Texas history was amazing because it was a time for explorers to look for whatever they could find riches, gold, or whatever. Spain was very important in that because they were definitely exploring and trying to find what they could find. But there were other countries involved. Now, one country in particular was France. Now, back in 1684, there was a man named Sieur La de Salle who, along with another guy, can't remember his name, decided to go to the Mississippi River and canoe down and find his way to the Rio Grande River. And what he then did was plant a flat French flag on the land with the intention of giving that land to France. He named it Louisiana in honor of his king, Louis XIV. So, what did he do after that? He then went to King Louis and said, "Hey, we got some land we're claiming. I think it'd be great. I'd lay claim there. You could have a military post there. We could do some land. We could expand our territory. Fantastic idea. Don't you think so, King?" And King says, "Yeah, I like the idea. Go for it." So, what happened? He got himself 300 people and 4 ships. Not bad. You get a chance to go overseas with a crew like that. Well, on their way over, they had a few mishaps. Like, for example, some pirates decided to attack one of the ships, and a bunch of sailors decided to flee. Things like that happen once in a while. And then they got a little bit lost. Yep, that's the way it works when you're on the ocean, especially in these days. But anyway, you get a little lost, and instead of ending up in the area near the Mississippi River, he ended up off a little bit and in a place called Matagorda Bay. Matagorda Bay. Okay? Matagorda Bay. It's just a little bit southwest of Galveston Bay. So he's founded that place. He's landed there. It's a marshy area. And unfortunately, one of his ships, he's got one ship that got attacked. He has a ship that gets grounded. So the sailors are kind of stuck on this marshy land. They're trying to survive, but it's not working out too good. So they decided to move inland. And what did they do when they moved inland? They founded a fort, Fort St. Louis. That's right. They founded a fort called Fort St. Louis. Now, before you get all confused, Fort St. Louis, before you get all confused, I want you to realize it's not the same place as St. Louis, Missouri. Different place. This place was right near the Gulf of Mexico, Fort St. Louis. So anyway, they settled there, and it was a struggle. They built like a few houses and a chapel and a couple other rooms, and eventually they set up camp there and build on from there. Now, remember, LaSalle was the explorer, and so his whole idea was to search for more stuff. So he took off. This is around. They landed. They landed at Matagorda Bay in February 1685. They then moved in and started their fort a few weeks, about a month or two later, and then he takes off with a group of people to go find the Rio Grande, looking for whatever, mine, food, whatever. He's gone for a few months. Well, that's not good news for the people of that town because why? Well, it turns out unfortunately, they got very hungry. There was a problem with the food supply. They didn't have as much food as they needed. And they got attacked by the Karankawa Indians. Many of them were killed as a result of it. And so that was quite a heartbreaking moment. Well, this guy, LaSalle, comes back a few months later and finds out there's a lot of devastation. And there's also been some quarreling among the leaders, and they're arguing about what to do, etc. And to make matters even worse, one of their other ships gets lost or gets grounded or gets hit by the storm, and a lot of stuff was lost. And here they are, the settlers get lost, and so you just have one problem after another. That storm wrecked the ship, and so they are hurting. They're hurting. Well, LaSalle goes to Canada, wants to go to Canada to get help. Why would he want to go to Canada? Who knows? But it's a long way to go, but he's thinking he can make it. So he gets to go to Canada, and they find out, man, this is just terrible. I mean, the wilderness is awful. Their expedition to Canada doesn't work. And on the way back, all these guys start to fight with each other again. Another fighting spell goes on. They blame each other, and then LaSalle gets killed in the matter. And it's considered a failure. They come back. If you go back to the town Fort St. Louis, what do you find? There's only about 30 people left. It's unfortunate. The Karankawas had attacked again. And what did they do? They had, after the adults were killed, there were 5 children remaining. And they were taken in until finally they were found and recovered by the French. So it was a really tough, a rotten, horrible experience for everybody. But the French considered it important because it gave them the opportunity to lay claim to that part of Texas and that part of America. So even though it was a disaster and it was heartbreaking with a lot of loss of life, France was able to at least say, hey, we landed there. We take claim of it. So his expedition was important, even if it was a lot of hardship and a lot of things went wrong. But that's what they call the LaSalle expedition. I hope you get it this time. This makes more sense, I think. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.